Hey everyone, my name is Robert. I'm a dietary intern and graduate student for Auburn University. I'm also the sole operator of RC Nutrition Consulting, a very small business focusing on educating the public on nutrition and releasing the restraints from dieting and false information. I'm also an independent Arbonne consultant who can provide nutritional supplements to complement my clients' weight loss journey and give them a foundation for their health. Today we're going to talk about sodium. But before I talk about sodium, please subscribe and check that bell to get notifications on when I release nutrition-related videos on YouTube. So, sodium, or often simply referred as salts or sodium chloride, is found in nearly everything you eat and drink. Believe it or not, many foods naturally contain sodium, such as celery, beets, milk, and others. But other than the naturally occurring sodium foods, sodium is added to foods during manufacturing process and is used as a flavoring agent at homes and at restaurants. For some time, sodium has been connected to high blood pressure, which causes damage to your blood vessels and arteries when chronically elevated. High blood pressure increases the rate of heart disease, stroke, heart failure, kidney disease, and other nutrition-related diseases. Therefore, several health authorities have established guidelines for limiting sodium intake. The guidelines have created several diet approaches to limit or control sodium consumption and prevent the following diseases previously listed. So in this video, I'm going to explain the importance of sodium, the connection with sodium and high blood pressure, the official dietary guidelines for sodium consumption, and what you can do to control your sodium. Despite its continued prosecutions, sodium is an essential nutrient for good health. It's one of your body's electrolytes, which are minerals that create electrical charge ions. Most of your body's sodium resides in your blood and fluids surrounding your cells, which help keep these fluids in balance. Along with maintaining healthy fluid balance, sodium plays a crucial role in normal nerve and muscle function. Your kidneys help regulate your body's sodium levels by adjusting the amount it is secreted in your urine or through sweating. So let's talk about the connection with sodium and high blood pressure. It's long known that sodium increases blood pressure, particularly in people with elevated levels. Most nutritional professionals believe that the link between sodium and high blood pressure was first identified in France in 1904. It wasn't until the 1940s that the connection between the high blood pressure and sodium has been recognized, when the scientist Walter Kepner demonstrated the low sodium rice diet that can lower blood pressure in 500 adults with elevated levels in a small study. Since then, research has established a strong connection between excessive sodium intake and high blood pressure. However, not everyone responds to sodium in the same way. People with high blood pressure, diabetes, chronic kidney disease, older adults, and African Americans tend to be more sensitive to blood pressure raising effects of sodium. If you're sensitive to sodium, limiting sodium intake is recommended, as you may have a higher risk for high blood pressure related heart disease. Now let's talk about my favorite part, the official dietary recommendations and guidelines. For decades, health authorities have urged people to limit their sodium intake to control blood pressure. United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, and the USDA of Health and Human Services recommend that healthy adults limit their daily sodium intake to less than 2,300 milligrams, the equivalent of 1 teaspoon of salt. The WHO suggests that consuming 2,000 milligrams of sodium per day. The American Heart Association advised a lower intake of 1,500 milligrams per day. Due to the increased sodium loss through sweating, these guidelines may not apply for high active adults or people like competitive athletes or workers who are exposed to heat. Today, Americans consume much more sodium than health authorities recommend, averaging between 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams each day. On the other side, some evidence suggests that reducing sodium intake to the recommended levels may be harmful. In a review study composing of 133,000 people with or without high blood pressure from 49 countries across 6 continents, research examined how low sodium can affect the heart and early death. The results have been shown that having 3,000 milligrams or less was more likely to have heart attacks or die compared to people who consume 4,000 to 5,000 milligrams. What's more, those who consume less than 3,000 milligrams of sodium per day have worse health outcomes than people consuming 7,000 milligrams. People with high blood pressure who consume more than 7 grams of sodium per day should considerably consume less. However, cutting back on sodium doesn't seem to have much of a difference for healthy people. Though health authorities continue to push for lower sodium intake, reducing sodium too much, below 3 grams, may negatively impact health. Studies show that people who consume less than 3 grams per day are at a higher risk for heart disease and early death than people who have an intake of 4 to 5 grams. This raises concerns as whether the current guidelines from all these organizations, ranging from 1,500 to 2,300 milligrams, are doing more harm than good, as a growing body of evidence suggests that these levels may be too low. Now we're going to talk about the ways that you can control your blood pressure and improve your health. Achieving the low amounts of sodium that health authorities recommend can be difficult and may not be best for your health. These are more practical and useful ways to control your blood pressure and improve your health without having too much focusing on how much sodium you consume. So let's talk about it. Number 1, exercise. Believe it or not, a combination of aerobic and resistance training is ideal, but even walking can help bring your high blood pressure down. If you're unable to make it to the gym, try walking at least 30 minutes a day, and if this duration is too much to achieve at once, break it down into 3 10-minute blocks. Number 2, eat more fruits and vegetables. Plain and simple. Most people don't eat enough fruits and vegetables. These foods contain essential nutrients like potassium and magnesium that may lower blood pressure. Vegetables like lettuce, beetroot, spinach are also good substitutes and good sources of nitrates, which increase the production of nitric oxide, which relaxes your blood vessels and arteries, cause them to dilute and increase your blood flow. Number 3, eat fewer calories. Sodium consumption is associated with caloric intake. The more calories you eat, the more sodium you can consume. Since most people eat more calories than they need every day, just cutting back on calories is the easiest way to reduce your sodium intake without too much thought. Eating fewer calories also promotes weight loss, which can lower your blood pressure as well too. And number 4, in addition to several health authorities, alcohol is significantly associated with elevated blood pressure. Women and men should limit their intake to 1 or 2 drinks per day, respectively. If you see these recommendations, you want to cut back. So keep in mind, 1 drink of alcohol equals to 12 ounces of regular beer, 8 to 9 ounces of malt liquor, 5 ounces of wine, or 1.5 ounces of spirit or shots. So in closing, sodium is an essential nutrient that your body needs for many vital functions. Health authorities recommend between 1 to 2.3 grams per day. Increasing evidence suggests that these guidelines may be too low. People with high blood pressure should not exceed 7 grams per day. If you're healthy, the amount of sodium you should consume is likely safe. If you're worried about your blood pressure, there are several other useful things you can do, such as exercising, optimizing your diet, and losing weight. Lastly, talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian about what you can do to control your sodium and high blood pressure. Well, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate you guys' feedback. Thanks for watching this video with Robert Couteau from RC Nutrition Consulting. I hope you guys have a nice day, and make sure to have a nice Christmas. Okay, bye.